Very few people will make it to the end of this video. If you do, you're already ahead of most. Have you ever reached the end of the day feeling completely drained? Even though you barely accomplished anything. You promised yourself today would be different. You'd exercise, read a few pages, learn a new skill, whatever it is. Instead, you've spent an hour scrolling, watched random videos, jumped between 5 different tasks, then went to bed asking yourself the same painful question. What's wrong with me? Maybe you've called yourself lazy and convinced yourself you just don't have enough discipline. But what if the problem isn't laziness at all? What if your ambition is what's holding you back? Here is a story. A young samurai once approached his master and bowed.
Master,
He said.
I want to become the greatest swordsman in the land. How long will it take?
The master answered calmly.
10 years.
The student frowned.
What if I train twice as hard, morning until night, no breaks?
The master replied.
20 years.
The student was stunned. How could working harder make it take longer? At first, that answer sounds ridiculous. But the older I get, the more I realize that one conversation explains why so many of us stay stuck. Most people don't suffer from a lack of ambition. They suffer from having too much of it. Think about your own life. You don't have one dream. You have 10. Get healthier, build a business, become more confident. Every goal matters, and that's exactly the problem. Imagine opening 10 browser tabs on an old laptop. Nothing crashes, but nothing loads properly either. Everything slows down. Your mind works the same way. Too many priorities become no priorities. And here's something psychologists have discovered. Every decision you make consumes mental energy. It's called decision fatigue. The more choices your brain has to make throughout the day, the worse those choices become. So when you sit down wondering what to do, your brain quietly chooses something much easier. Scrolling, because it requires almost no effort. That's not laziness. That's overload. And those are very different things. I know this because I used to do it all the time. Every Sunday night, I built a perfect life on paper. Monday, reading, learning new skills, no social media, healthy eating, perfect sleep schedule. It looked amazing. By Wednesday, everything had fallen apart. Then I'd tell myself I lacked discipline. Looking back, the problem was not discipline. The problem was trying to change my entire life overnight. Maybe you've done that too. Remember the samurai? He wasn't losing because he lacked effort. He was losing because he was obsessed with arriving and wanted mastery immediately. The master understood something the student didn't. When your eyes are glued to the finish line, you stop paying attention to the road beneath your feet. And mastery lives on that road, not at the finish line. Here's where most people get it wrong. We think success comes from dramatic transformations, one huge decision or one burst of motivation. But reality is much less exciting and much more powerful. Success is usually boring, tiny actions repeated consistently. In my part of the world, there's an Igbo proverb that captures this idea perfectly. Noi noe ka, iji, aga enahu. It means, little by little, one moves forward. Long before productivity experts gave this idea a name, people understood that lasting progress isn't built through giant leaps. Let me prove how powerful that is. Imagine improving by just 1% every day. 1% sounds laughably small, almost pointless. But because improvement compounds, after 1 year, you're not slightly better. You're roughly 37 times better than where you started. Not because of one incredible day, because of hundreds of ordinary ones. That's how progress hides. It looks invisible, until one day everyone calls it overnight success. There's another story I love. For decades, Britain's cycling team was almost invisible on the world stage. Then a new coach arrived with a strange strategy. He didn't demand impossible training sessions. Instead, he improved everything by tiny amounts. Bike seats, nutrition, training routines, even the mattresses athletes slept on. Tiny improvements everywhere. Years later, they dominated international cycling. The world noticed the medals. Few noticed the thousands of tiny decisions that produced them. So, how do you actually use this? Let's make it practical. First, choose one priority. Not 5. Not 3. 1. I know that's uncomfortable. Because your ambitious mind wants to fix everything immediately. Remember the samurai. Trying to sprint in every direction usually means standing still. Pick one direction, then walk. Second, shrink the habit until it's impossible to fail. Want to read? Read 1 page. Want to exercise? Do 1 push-up. Want to write? Write 1 sentence. Sounds ridiculous. Good. The goal isn't improvement. The goal is showing up. Once you've started, momentum usually takes care of the rest. Starting is the hardest part. Motivation isn't reliable because it comes and goes. If your system depends on feeling motivated, eventually it breaks. But tiny habits don't require inspiration. They only require action. Third, after brushing your teeth, stretch. After making coffee, read. After lunch, practice your skill for 5 minutes. You're not creating extra time. You're recycling time that already exists. Fourth, track it seriously. Use a paper calendar. Every successful day gets one big X. Soon, you'll have a chain, and something interesting happens. You stop chasing motivation and start protecting the chain. Sometimes that's enough. But here's the moment that matters most. Because eventually, life interrupts. You'll get sick, or feel tired, or miss a day. That's normal. What's dangerous is missing two. One missed day is an accident. Two missed days can become a pattern. Don't let one bad day convince you you've become a different person. Just return, quietly, without guilt or punishment. Just continue. Remember the samurai? His greatest obstacle wasn't a sword. It was impatience. And maybe yours isn't time or talent or intelligence. Maybe it's the belief that everything has to happen faster. Your future won't be shaped by one massive decision. It will be shaped by thousands of tiny ones. Every choice to begin instead of waiting. Each one is a vote for the person you're becoming. Or a vote for staying exactly where you are. 5 years from now, you'll wish you had started today. Not because today was magical, because today could have been the first brick in something extraordinary. So before you watch another video, before you check your phone, decide your 1%. Write it in the comments. Tomorrow, do only that. Then come back the next day and do it again. Because greatness rarely arrives with a roar. Most of the time, it whispers, 1% at a time.